Hello everyone, there has been an update in the game, so the tourism profit is kind of changing, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit. First thing they did was they have divided this entertainment and all of these indicators except for aesthetics by 10. So instead of having, like, for example, education 400, which we used to have, now it's going to be like 40. So let's kind of go through all the different options, talk about the differences. So first thing I'm going to talk about the mall. First thing you got to know about the mall, it has now increased to just 220 instead of 200, which is quite fantastic. And it has 40 tourists, 15 workers. It has already been great before. It's definitely better than regular storages because in order to take the same amount of space, the regular storage would only give you 150 storage. This gives you 220, so this is significantly better already. Plus it's making you money. It's making you 84 per day. So mall is absolute recommendation. It has been before, but now it's even better. Gives you a little bit better storage, gives you entertainment, aesthetics. Don't be worried about the entertainment being 2 because, like I said, the indicators are lowered, divided by 10. So this used to be like, this would be 20 before, so now it's 2, so it's actually quite good. Next thing we're going to talk about is the museum. You can look at it right here. The museum has actually gotten quite significant changes. They've changed the amount of tourists from 70 to 45. So now this is going to make you 144 per day. Yes, 144 per day. So that means that per tourist per day, this is now 3.2. So this is now just as good as the academias. These two are now the best, like tourist per day. Okay, let's talk about the education for the museum. So the museum gives you 42 education. But if you compare it, for example, to university, university gives you 21. So space-wise, university is still much better because you can fit 3 of those. It's going to give you 63 education instead of the 42. However, people-wise, the university is worse because the university needs 30 people for 21 education, while the museum needs only 15 people for twice as much education. However, you need the tourists to make it work, so you will need additional people, like to operate the hotels and stuff like that. But still, it's not quite bad on the money. It's a very good way to make money, and it can be a good idea if you want to focus more on the education and you don't need, for example, medical or justice. So then you want to build a museum to utilize the tourists in the best way. Next up, we have the fountain. They have added some entertainment to the fountain, I believe. It now gives 3 entertainment, 200 aesthetics. Now, the fountain has always been fantastic per person per day because it actually gives you one of the best statistics if you're ignoring the skyscraper where the per person per day statistic is infinity. So otherwise the fountain gives you 45 per person per day, which is very, very good. Now as for aesthetics, it's also quite nice because it gives you 200, while large park only gives you 54. So this is fantastic if you're looking for aesthetics and also for some way to make money, as it makes you 180 per day, which is very, very nice. Pretty good. I would recommend the fountain. Next thing we're going to talk about is the academy. Now the academy gives you the best return tourist-wise, the same as the museums. That's pretty good, and it gives you a little bit of everything. It gives you 13 education, 18 justice, and 15 medicine if it's fully operated. If you're wondering why my numbers are higher, it's because I have the research to increase medicine, so therefore this gives me a little bit more medicine. But overall, academy it's good because it gives you a little bit of everything, but just like in the previous guide, it's not going to be anything extra special. If you want this to help out everybody, now that the museum is actually as good as the academy, I might be more focused on the museum and instead like use that to build up with the education. Now next thing we're going to talk about is the stadium. Now the stadium, it makes you 180 per day. Entertainment center makes you 120 per day. So if you were like dividing it to make the same space, it would be equal. So it does not give you a benefit there. And entertainment is actually much worse than the entertainment center because the entertainment center, it can give you 44 per day, while the tourism stadium gives you 33. So the stadium, I cannot recommend it for you guys. It does give you some extra aesthetics and medicine, so that's pretty nice. But I do think you would be better off with just building entertainment centers and then building extra something for medicine if you need that. And you can build a fountain if you're worried about aesthetics, because yeah, this is not my recommendation. Now they have changed the hotel. So the hotel now takes 2 squares. So this is going to be important when we're going to be comparing it to the Grand Hotel. Otherwise it's the same. It takes 60 settled tourists and 7 workers. Cycle takes 3 days to finish for 80. So that's all the same. Just takes 2 space now. Now as for the Grand Hotel, they have increased this cycle. This now gives 410. This is now actually better. This gives you 136 per day instead of the 110. If you're looking at hotels, then 3 hotels give you 90 per day, and that takes the same amount of space. So the Grand Hotel is now actually better than regular hotels, which I quite like. As for the workers, it's the same. You need 20 workers, and in the regular hotel you would need 7. And so it's 21, 20, essentially the same. So, but now that they've increased the money, the Grand Hotel is actually a preferable thing compared to the regular hotel. So I would absolutely recommend. Next thing we're going to talk about are the skyscrapers. Then, so the skyscrapers haven't really changed from the previous one. They give you 40 aesthetics. Otherwise, they're essentially all the same. You need 25 tourists to work. They make you 48 per day. They're the best per person per day because you don't need anybody to work there because they're homes. And I would definitely recommend them if you're looking for people to live somewhere. So this is essentially just a residential that makes you money. It can be very effective. However, if you're gonna compare it to the modular buildings, then one modular housing model gives you 26 people. You can fit 6 of them here. So 6 times, so that's 156 per 4 squares. Residential Scraper is a little bit better and it gives you money, so it's even better than the modular buildings actually. So I think that's pretty interesting. So I definitely recommend that. Finally, let's look at the tree. The ancient tree. The ancient tree gives you 240 per day. So it gives you the highest amount per day, which is quite interesting. I would quite recommend that, because so if you're looking to make money very, very quickly, you can use that. However, the per tourist per day statistic or the per person per day statistic is not the best. So if you want to utilize your tourists or your people the best way, you want to look at some other buildings. Another thing that it does, it gives you some ecology. I do like this for the ecology. However, I have to admit that vertical air purifiers are still better. 3 of them gives you the same thing as an ancient tree, and they're vertical, so they're much better space-wise because you can put them on the side. If you're comparing it ecology-wise versus like a park, then the ancient tree will definitely win out because park only gives you 12, this gives you 20. But compared to the purifiers, it's just not worth it. And it needs quite a lot of tourists to make it work properly. So I do like the tree. It's very beautiful. It does give you a little bit of stuff, but it's not such a high recommendation some of the other buildings. Now, final thing we gotta talk about is the oceanarium. They have changed it, and they have now the oceanarium actually makes 5 fish instead of 4. It will allow you to make some fish on places where you don't actually have any water. So I quite like oceanarium. It can be very, very good. I would recommend it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the updated tourist guide, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!